Good night, everyone, and welcome to Couples Talk. This evening, our topic has come out from some discussions we've had with others that have been listening to our live, and we were impressed to do this particular topic. And the topic for this evening is how to find joy in a broken marriage. I'm here with my wife, Charlene. How are you doing tonight, Charlene?
I'm doing good actually. Yeah, I'm
All right.
doing good. Even with a rainy day, it was actually a good day, so I can smile about that.
Wonderful. The question I have is why didn't we name this topic how to find joy in an abusive marriage? Well, why didn't we start there?
Because abuse is not the only area where sometimes people lack joy or happiness in their relationship. Sometimes persons may have been drawn apart or experience highs and lows, difficulties in a relationship that would typically cause you to have an experience of unhappiness or lacking joy. So, which is why we decided to focus on that particular area. So, as we always put our disclaimer, please note if you're going through any form of abuse, physical or emotional abuse, that this is not about you and you need to seek professional help to aid in terms of recovery in your particular situation.
And I want to also share in everything that we do, we almost want to set a premise. We are not encouraging anyone to stay in an abusive relationship. We believe your safety, your protection is important, and with help that the relevant partner that might be abusive may find help. Our goal is always to lead to reconciliation, but never to condone abuse. So if that is the situation, this is not what we're talking about. We are saying that every marriage sometimes goes through highs and lows or
Mm-hmm.
hills and valleys. However, there are some times that your valleys may seem like it's not ending. It's for whatever reason. And I mean, there are many reasons why you might be in what we may term a broken marriage. It might be, and I'll ask you that, Charlotte. What is the reason why someone may legitimately feel they would like to stay within a broken marriage?
There are a few reasons actually. One and foremost, the person may have a relationship with God, a spiritual background, where they believe that marriage is a covenant, which it is, and that they are to try work it out. First, work it out instead of just seeking the easiest way out, which is divorce. Because as we mentioned, we're not focusing on physical or emotional abuse. Noted that I separate the two because some persons don't realize emotional is actually a form of abuse, that this person might be going through a situation, but noted that even through that, they figured there can be some sort of reconciliation in their environment. There are also cases of where persons might be maybe loss of a loved one, loss of a job. Those different environments or situations can cause a person to go through a form of lows within their marriage, which can affect the outcome of what happens within the relationship. So those are different things that we could be talking about
No, I've
on those.
actually spoken to some person that have decided and have said, look, Joshua, I'm not leaving my marriage because I need the financial support. I
Yes.
might not be happy, but I can't do this on my own. So I
Mm-hmm.
need the financial support. And nothing is wrong with that. These are all legitimate reasons why a person may stay. Or I can't leave because of the kids. You
Mm-hmm.
know, this person is a great um,
Spouse, father, mother.
father or mother or so forth, and because of that, as much as I am struggling in the marriage have some issues that don't seem to be resolving, but this person is a good father, they're a good mother, and I don't want to leave this for and have my children to suffer. So there are a lot of legitimate reasons why someone would be choose to stay within a broken marriage, as we put it. And one of the things we have recognized is that no matter how bad you think your marriage is, there is hope. And we have seen so much, broken marriages come back from the brink. We're an example of that. We've struggled, we've had our lows, and yet still God has found ways of making it not just where it was, but even better than it was before. And that's a smiling, sweetheart. It's reminiscing. You're agreeing with me.
Yes, I'm agreeing with you.
Amen. All right. I mean, thank you for those that's already on with us in the live. If you're hearing us well and the audio is good, let us know. I remember we went through half of an episode a few weeks ago and there was no audio. So let us know if you're hearing us. Just let us know in the comments that you're hearing us properly. All right. So we want to get in now to some of the points that we want to share as to how do you find joy in a broken marriage. How are you able to regain that which used to make you smile and feel valuable, and just have a sense of, you know, importance about yourself. And I like the word joy. And even though joy and happiness a lot of times are used
So,
interchangeably,
mm-hmm.
I believe joy is something that goes deeper. I believe you could be in grief and still
And
experience
experience joy.
joy,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And while happiness, I find it's, in my context, is a bit fleeting.
Yeah.
You know, you're
Happiness is related to emotions,
yeah.
so I feel great today. I'm emotional, so I don't feel good today, so I'm unhappy today, which is not necessarily the case. So that's what it is. We figured out our base, because God referenced joy. We thought was best to reference joy in our description here. So you can see it's beyond just a fleeting experience, but more something purposeful, something intentional, something that you want to experience, something that you're willing to go through or to enjoy, even in spite of your situation.
All right, so I just want to say thank you to Samuel that you're hearing us well. Very good. So let's get into the first one. All right, so Charlene, you could hit us off.
Having an attitude of gratitude. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just smiling plenty these days. I don't know why. That maybe there's joy in my heart, even in spite of the struggles I'm going through at work, and the uh, yes, I'm still experiencing joy. So have an attitude of gratitude. Write down all the things that make you happy, even if they're small. Like I can smile even if it was rainy today. It was still a good day. I had two clients, and the excitement they had when we had our conversation, it just brought a sense of joy. It just reminded me that even though sometimes my days can be struggle, and sometimes I'm wondering why I'm doing this particular job, it just gave me such sense of joy, that sense of fulfillment, that somebody appreciates what I do, and they left feeling contented, and I left with a sense of gratitude. And even in your marriage, you might be going through something. You can even write down that, focus on little experiences that you're getting that can bring some joy, happiness to you, simple little things you might be surprised about. And it's if you practice that, because that's something we practice even every Sabbath. We would focus on our weeks, the thankfulness, and there's a thankfulness experience we have where we talk about things that we're thankful for the week. It helps us to take away focusing on the negative and focus on the positive. So you'd be surprised if you practice this attitude of gratitude, writing these small wins every day, every week. It will actually change your perspective of how you relate to every situation, even in your marriage.
You know, one of the things I like to do just before I go to bed is lie down, look up into the ceiling at the times, and just my mental reflection on what can I be thankful for that took place today, just before I go to bed. It allows you to go to bed in a positive framework, because no matter how bad things are, if you really take the time, you could find something to be happy about. There's something to be grateful for that you have, because there's always that parable that says that you are complaining that you don't have a shoe, but there's someone complaining that they
They
have
have one.
one leg,
Mm-hmm.
or none, so someone will be happy for your
Also,
situation.
that reminds me, when you eat the dal and stuff, you didn't get the meat. The
See,
person didn't even have food.
I am guilty for that, so
Yes.
here is, so there are times, and I'm guilty of that. I'm complaining that my wife didn't add some fish with
I
my
mean,
food,
yeah, but you
but
got
there's
your.
someone that don't have. So what we're saying here is that take the time to have an attitude of gratitude. And I know it's difficult when things around you is falling down. To get to that point is not easy. So here is where you got to be intentional. Set a routine. You would have to figure which works best for you. I'm a morning person, so I get up and I try to take the first few hours in the morning to use this time to find something positive to do. That's the time I do my devotion. I sit and I pray. For you, it may be a time of meditation. It may be a time of reflection. It may be a habit of writing, and to be able to get into that sense where you are getting an attitude for gratitude and actually write down, something that you are actually happy or grateful for. All right. The second one we want to look at is reconnect with a passion or a lost hobby. Find a new hobby or other activities that you're not, that you might not have previously engaged in. So what am I mean by that? There are things that we have lost contact with. As we get older, we start getting busy. The responsibility of life, either the kids, education, the job, the marriage, the struggles, and so on, and you get into a routine of either
Or what?
home, work, if you're working, or otherwise maybe just cook the food, clean, church, and you just find yourself doing the same thing over and over, and you lost some of the things that you were passionate about. Here might be a good time for you to reconnect with some of those things. And Charlene shared some items that were there, and I told you I had to add some because I found some of them seem very much so something she would do. So, and that's like something like
Oh,
joining a book club,
yeah,
right?
we've had a little snag with COVID, but it's actually a very good group to engage yourself in. If you're not a reader, you could find different topics or articles. The For us, it was more about the bonding experience. Wine and books and wine. But at least it was able to express ourselves, engage in different activities, talk, discuss, bond. So it's actually a very good activity to engage in. And if you haven't found one to join, you can actually create your own. Find some friends, create a book club.
All right. So another example of some activities here is like joining an art class, and this was unique
Yeah,
because,
because I saw it on Facebook where
and that's what a
I
Zoom art
yes,
class.
have a friend who joined one and she never invited me, but I still love her. I still love her, but I've seen it and I was actually thinking I should join one because I tried to paint in college. I have a little painting behind me here that has held dear to my heart that I've taught it everywhere I went. And I felt so proud of myself because I got an 8 for that class. Yes. But I'm more with scenic. I can't do people. But I think that's a good way to relax, bond with different persons, engage in a new activity, a hobby that maybe you never thought you could have done. So I think it's a good idea.
Well, I added these last two because there was something need to be there for the men. So I'm saying, hey guys, maybe join a gym. Something that you could do with friends or so forth, that you could get your mind off, or maybe what's really stressing you or so forth. Maybe join a basketball team. And I did this. I could hardly run up and down the court, but it was just the bonding experience to be there with the guys. Maybe the younger guys was running circles around
And
me.
I used to make him feel good. Yeah, go Joshua,
Yeah,
go
I mean, so
Joshua.
during this time of COVID, maybe a basketball team might not be that accessible, but whatever might be around you. So, for example, billiards. I'm a huge billiards fan.
We can't play
Sometime,
billiards now either.
yeah, I know, but if there's a safe hobby or activity that you could do that you're passionate about. For example, I recently started reconnecting on building websites, something I never thought I would do, but now it's so much fun that you could do. So find a hobby, find something that you could reconnect with, that really inspires you, that you're passionate about, that you could get into what you would call like a flow. When you're doing this, time pass and you're not even, you're not even knowing what's, because you're having so much joy in this activity. Find that, try something new. There's so much things that we could really do outside of scrolling through our social media feed. That could get very depressing. Everybody always seems to have a wonderful life on Instagram and on social media. So you got to be very intentional about that. And there's a lot of other things. And as a respect to this, I'm saying, even if you're on social media, you're on YouTube or so forth, be very intentional about some of the feeds that you have. There's some channels you need to unsubscribe from. It's not, doing you any good. Every time you go on there, you're seeing things that just makes you unhappy. It reminds you what you're not doing about your life. Be very intentional. There are some inspirational channels that I now try to subscribe to so early in the day that I could find something that could lift me up and not something that's reminding me that things around me is just not the way it should be. All right. So, Charlie, you could take the third one.
Focus on your relationship with God, not your spouse or other people in your life who may be causing you strife.
Not your spouse. You
I
need to explain that, Charlie.
actually when I was reading the last
Not
part,
your
I
spouse.
have a friend we would talk about this in terms of people in your life who are toxic and you need to get rid of them or cut them off. Yes.
But I'm your spouse. How is it not
Yeah.
me?
One of the things we've learned through our journey is that you see, we spend so much time focusing on pleasing our spouse when we should be pleasing, or sorry, when we should be pleasing God. You should be
Yeah.
building that relationship with God. And you see, even at this point in time when you're going through this, I just laughed when I said that. And yeah, at this point in time, that's a famous line at this point. Anyway, why so slow with these jokes? Anyway, right. So as you know, when we decide to focus and place that emphasis in building a relationship with God, it takes away the feeling of depression, loneliness, confusion that you would be experiencing on a daily basis because you'll be experiencing joy with this newfound relationship with God. Because even every time you reach out to Him, there's a newfound joy that you're experiencing. And you see, when you build that healthy dynamics up and down with each other, then this, which is your spouse, will get better. So spend more emphasis on God. Spend more emphasis on building that sound relationship with Him. Praying, singing, crying to Him, talking, pleading, telling him how you feel, telling Him, help me to be a better person. Because many times we spend so much time focusing on what our spouse is not doing for us, when there may be times we may be contributing to the issues at hand, not intentionally, but we may be contributing. If we spend time saying, God, fix me, help me to be a better person, help me to find joy in spite of my situation, help me to understand the purpose you have for my life, you'll be so surprised that the other persons around you will no longer be affecting you. And then you will see things differently. A spouse, on the other hand, who might notice the changes, might be curious, and no matter how much they pretend, they will be curious to why it is you're not taking on half the stresses that were bothering you before. And they may ask questions, or they may just try to change the way they respond to because they want to avoid any arguments. Because they realize things seem different, so they might start to operate in a different manner as well. And then you realize you're in more of a peaceful zone because they are changing the way they interact with you as well.
There's a Bible text that says, Romans chapter 15, verse 13 says, may the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. I want to give you a scenario that always resonates with me. When you're in an airplane and there's turbulence and the oxygen mask comes down from the ceiling, the advice to you always says to put on your oxygen mask first, even before you put on the oxygen mask of your child, even someone that's helpless, that can't do it themselves. And there is a reason, a rationale for this. If you are not able to get that oxygen yourself, then you may be hallucinating. You may not be able to perceive what is going on around you well. I want for a moment for you to imagine that oxygen, and that oxygen mask is God. And that oxygen that you are taking in is like the Holy Spirit that is now empowering you to see clearly, to be able to step back and have real perspective, so that when you now start looking at your relationship with your spouse, it's like when you're now able to take that mask and put it on that child. And we're not calling your spouse a child here, but it's just an analogy to say that when you strengthen your relationship with God, it gives you new insight, new perspective. It removes the emotional charged environment. There are times that you get into an argument with your spouse. You did not intend for it to get to that point. We've had some conversation we started very harmless, and before you know it, it is an outright arguments, and you have no idea how it got this bad. And there are times that God and the Holy Spirit is just not in the midst of it, and you're not able to really focus. And we're saying that as you draw closer to God, it gives you a whole new perspective that it may allow you to see your spouse in a totally different way and may give you the right tools. And even if, and this is something you have to really consider, even if the relationship is not able to be mended in the time that you think it should be, God is still able to give you joy, even in the midst of this, while He is working on your spouse to get there. Because again, we believe in reconciliation, but it don't always happen in the time that you might like. But we need you to be able to find your joy even during this journey. So the fourth one here is get support from counselors, therapists, spiritual leaders, family members, friends, mentors. It's important to recognize you can't do this on your own.
Mhm.
And Charlie, tell us a little bit about this.
Many times when you're going through struggles, you feel so alone and you think that no one understands your problem. You think that no one would be willing to assist you, but there are persons out there willing to assist you. In terms of the professionals mentioned, the counselors, the therapists, these persons here with the background that they have would be able to assist you in dealing with the emotional struggles that you're going through, taking you from your low point to a better place. And trust me, as I always emphasize, there's nothing wrong with seeking counseling. Counseling is not for crazy people. Counseling is for those who are at a different point in their life where they need assistance to overcome a hurdle. And there's nothing wrong with that. Seek this form of counseling. Get help, get the extra push because not all the time you can do it alone. Many times you might have your pastor, your spiritual leader who you have a good relationship with can encourage you. So you can go to them for encouragement, say, no, I want to go through this. I want to have a better relationship with my spouse. I want to have a better relationship with God. And they would give you some encouragement in that way. Then you have family and friends who have been supportive and can be supportive and continue to be supportive, and included your mentors. Now, if you have family members and friends who are toxic, do not go to them for support. They will not encourage you. Note you have to be aware of the negativities in your life. If they're negative, you need to avoid them. Yes, family members and friends can be toxic. So find persons outside of that environment to encourage you. So don't know that you have to stay there. You can find other means of getting help, which is why we mentioned those different avenues you can reach out for help.
I think you've really touched it there. I don't think there's any more I could really add there. The fifth one here is schedule regular date nights or take turns planning activities for each other. Now, we understand that things might be a bit rocky and you may not have the zeal to do things and to be spontaneous. And one of the things that has really helped us is we at an early point recognize that irrespective of how bad things are, we do need time for ourselves, or we do need time to connect and reconnect. So we schedule, literally schedule to say, hey, every Saturday evening is going to be our date night. If you have kids, it might be a good time to say, hey, sweetheart, can we organize to have a babysitter on this particular night? And take turns. Don't let one person plan the activity or so forth. And we are saying that a lot of times, sometimes just the idea that this is scheduled and planned, it takes away the pressure of someone, oh, you never do anything for me, or we never do anything. No, no, this is scheduled. You know, do not schedule anything on this night. If the guys want to hang out, the girls want to go out, your family wants you to do something. No, no, no. Not that night. That night is your date night. Try to book it, try to keep it, try not to put something in the way. Know that at least this one night is the night that you're going to do something, no matter how simple it is. It doesn't have to be anything expensive, it doesn't have to be that you're going on an expensive date. It might just be a drive, but for that period of time, be intentional, give focus to what is happening in front of you. Again, I'm guilty. Sometimes I'm there and my phone is that, and you gotta refrain and remember. And then Charlie will tell me, hey, remember, tonight is my night. And that person have that right. That person have the right to remind you that we made a promise that tonight, these couple hours is mine, right? So give me that. Don't let it end up being a fight. We're not saying that, but at least we should have that understanding that look, this is our night, right? What about you, Sean?
Yeah, it's important to take that time, even though situations might seem a little rocky. But you see, when you make that effort to be intentional, even with that small gesture with each other, it gives you enough time to focus on you, focus on the relationship. It might even reignite, past experiences that draw you first together. And it will help to even increase the different daily experiences because after a while, you're doing this date night and then you start to have little conversations about simple things because you're not being bombarded with every day of life, technology, persons around you. So it helped to really enhance the relationship. I know many times we watch TV and TV shows that it doesn't really work, but I really believe that if we're intentional about this, both parties, it could really make some little steps in terms of improving even your daily communication and relationship with each other and kind of bring you over that hurdle of what it is you've been experiencing with those low points.
All right, excellent. And the final point we want to share this evening is volunteer for a cause that appeals to you. You could also invite your spouse to it so that they could come along, and it might be a good bonding experience for both of you. One of the things I've found is that when you take the time to focus on helping somebody else, it really helps you to get your mind off of what's troubling you, because there are persons out there that are going through some struggles, and it's something that gives you a different perspective of your situation, because when you could take the time to help someone else, it strengthens you. It gives you a sense of thankfulness that, wow, I could have helped someone. And whatever it might be, whatever your passion might be, it might be, youths or children, some cause that help. Maybe it's cleaning the beaches. Maybe you want to have a healthy environment. Maybe it's planting trees and making sure that whatever, there's so much causes out there that you could get involved with, some NGO or something that just allows you to take your mind off of what's going on with you and allow you to help someone else. And as I said, if you could do it together, is even better. If not, then get out there, do it. And I've found when my spouse, when you, Charlene, is finding your passion, and you're finding a sense of joy in what you're doing, you're more attractive. It's more appealing. You're someone that resonates and you radiate. Some people saying, "Wow, you're glowing." Yeah, and it's true. When you get to a state that you are so invested in what, you're not doing this for me, but I can't do this, you can't do that. When I get out of that, I see you in a whole different light, and especially when you're fine. Now, it might sound selfish, and there's someone might be saying here, but what Charlene and Josh is saying, are you telling me not to focus on my spouse? Are you saying I shouldn't fight for my marriage? That's the last thing we're saying. But there's some times that you really need to step back. Whatever is happening is not working. You seem to just always be fighting. We can't seem to see eye to eye on this situation. We always seem to be fighting about the same things. That's the time to change the argument. Try something different. And for one thing, please make sure you try God. If anything you miss, make sure you look in your relationship with God. Is the one thing that should be the pillar that drills out of all the other things that would have been mentioned. Charlene, any closing thought for you? What would be the one thing in everything we've mentioned that you could tell someone that is saying, I am just ready to give up. I can't seem to know what to say to this person. I don't know what more to do, but I don't want to leave. But I'm broken and I'm just lost. What will you tell that person?
What I always tell persons and continue to tell persons is that change only begins with you. Change first begins with you. Many times we're so focused on trying to get that person to see our point of view that we spend so much time in a bottleneck fighting because they're pushing back because all they see is criticism. But you see, when you spend time focusing on changing you and some of the suggestions we we highlighted focus on you building a better you, and you first and foremost building a better relationship with God. It helps to make you a better person, more relaxed, more comfortable in the skin that you are. Help you to see yourself in a different light, things that you never thought you could possibly do. As I said, find a new hobby, find something to do, you know. During the COVID situation, I have been doing community work, you know, and even though it has been a lot of hectic, it has brought me joy, because going through this period has been so stressful. But knowing that I had something to do to focus on someone else outside of me brought me joy, you know. And because I was doing, other persons were willing to help me because they saw me so engaged in this particular activity. And you see, when you start to do that and you focus on all these other activities and you focus on building a better you will begin to see that peace in you in the relationship, and eventually the person will come along. And even if they don't, you have built a better relationship with God and with yourself. So continue to focus on you. The only person you can change is you. I know I keep repeating this, and people might be saying, you know, I'm just being repetitious, but yes, repetition is a key to remembering stuff, and I want you to focus on that. The only person you can change is you. Help you to become a better person, help you to see a better light, help you to enhance a relationship for better, because only you can make you better.
The last thing I want to share is something that helped me. It helped Charlene as well. It's a book that really appealed to us, and that book is entitled um,
Sacred marriage.
"Sacred Marriage." You know, it's the the book basically here is about what if God designed marriage to make us holy more than to make us happy? And it was such a profound thought for us, seeing where God could use even a marriage that might be struggling in a way to draw you closer to Him, and get you to a point where you're closer to God and you could endure even what might be taking place there, so that at the end goal that you could be in God's arms that guide you through that. And in you getting there, God finds a way to provide the the things that you didn't even know you need. And that's where we want to get to, and that's where we want you to get to as well. So thank you again for joining us this evening as we looked at the topic, how to
Find
find joy
joy in a
in a
broken.
broken marriage. And just a quick recap, we're saying that you want to have an attitude of gratitude. No, number two, reconnect with your passion or your lost hobby. Number three, focus on your relationship with God. Charlie, number four was?
Get support from counselors, therapists, spiritual leaders, family members, friends, mentors.
All right. Number five.
Schedule regular date nights or take turns planning activities with each other. And last but not least, volunteer for a cause that appeals to you, and also invite your spouse along.
All right. So just let our viewers know if you want to share a comment, you want to engage more with us. How can they do that?
You can message us via our Facebook page, Vivid Resolutions. You can like the page as well. You can also message us via our YouTube channel, Vivid Resolutions. You can leave a comment there, share an experience, ask a question, anything that you're interested in. And even if you have a topic or question that you would like us to discuss, you can leave it there with us. So remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, and share the link with someone else so they can benefit from this message as well.
All right. So again, I want to thank those that joined us. Lou, it was nice to have you on. Wendy, and thank you for joining us. And you will see us on our next live, where we meet at Thursdays, 8
8 p.m.
p.m. Eastern Time. See you in the next video.